Yo, everybody. So it is a recording this. It's September 12th, which means it's the grand old day before the New World Eternum open beta. That's coming out tomorrow morning at 8 or 9 PT time. So it's going to be about 11 o'clock a.m. for me. I'm going to be hopping on it, probably do a stream as well. So if you guys are interested, be sure to stop by, say what's up. But what this video is going to be about is pretty much just speaking about what to expect and honestly all the reasons I think you should play New World and some reasons why you might not want to play it. Ultimately, it's a open beta, so that's completely free to you. So if you are interested in MMORPGs or ARPGs, how they're marketing for the console side, go ahead and hop into it. I think it's about 70 gigs. You can preload it now, so be sure to preload it if it's something that you are, teetering on. Think about tomorrow when it comes out, you're like, oh, I already have it downloaded. Let's run it out. But for first and foremost, I want to talk about some of the awesome things that I think why you should play it is for number one, the world of Eternum is awesome. I think New World has some of the best visuals in the MMO genre. It is gorgeous sound design, the feeling of chopping the trees down in that game. You could probably ask any players who hate it or love it. That sound design for the trees are, oh my gosh, it's like butter to the ears, man. It feels great. But yes, that world's very captivating. The regions look beautiful, very diverse. Keeps you wanting to explore and see what else they have to offer, which I think is a great plus. Another aspect of it is I think the community they have around the game is very good. As far as, I know when I say community, I know, a lot of negativity around it. But when I say community, I mean how the players interact with each other. I think it's a very fun and dynamic way. One, it has a player-driven economy, which makes it very fun because now you can kind of find your roles and find your niche within the world. For example, is if you want to focus all your time and efforts on becoming a great weaponsmither, crafting and finding the materials, there will be people who are like, oh, awesome, I need weapons. I'm not focusing my time and energy into that trade skill. So having someone who can weaponsmith for you is always a plus. As well as if you're logging, if you're big on mining, furnishing is a huge one that I never got into. But I knew a lot of people who did, and they were able to give people and sell great furniture. So it becomes kind of a live exchange where you are interacting with other individuals to help benefit. It's like real life. I have some, you have a good I want, I'll give you some gold for it. And it's a fun way to try to find and finesse the system to earn your own money as well. I had a good buddy of mine. He clutched up and he loved the fishing in the game. I tried it. It wasn't my cup of tea, really. I think it was cool, but I wasn't as hooked as he was. Little did I know, this fool was selling these fishes on the market and he was making a great deal of money. So that's kind of how he ran his economy. I was really big on flipping, so I'd buy a bunch of goods and then undercut the prices and flip them. That was my way. It was risky because I did lose a good amount of gold back when I was first playing. But it's kind of like that fun of playing the game, figuring out how you're going to make your money to buy your houses, buy your weapons, buy your armor, and all that good stuff. I think that's a good joy in the game. Another reason to play New World is I think there's a healthy mix. Obviously, I think it could be better. I'll be the first to say it. I don't think New World is perfect by any means, but it does offer both PVE and PVP, which I think go hand to hand. What I've seen in most games that are multiplayer driven, if you have one or the other, really, honestly, I would say it's more on the PvE side. PvE side is very fun, but you need that buffer in between content because let's face it, players will consume the content way faster than the devs can dish it out. So with that being said, the PvP side adds another bit of extra layer and skill to the game that how you fight a PvE boss versus how you fight another player is going to be completely different. The gear is going to be different. Your approach is going to be different. What you need to calculate based on the abilities they're using, the abilities you're using, what counteracts what is a different type of methodology to it. So you're going to tweak your way of thinking and your way of playing, which kind of gives that game a little bit of oomph as far as wanting to learn and kind of engage in a different realm of possibilities with the game. So I think that's a great approach. The PvE, some of the PvE stuff they have open world PvP, which is very fun. Just getting a group together, running through, doing influence races, doing PvP quests, fighting just random people is a huge deal of fun. Sometimes it can be a little bit of the griefing when you are running with 2 or 3 of your buddies and you see a squad of 20 people running up at you. Tough. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. Okay, but also what they have is And this is one I feel like no one talks about, but I think it is a great gem. And it is the dueling system. So you can go up to a random player, you guys got beef, or you can just have a friendly wager. Hey, 1,000 coin on the 1,000 coin at stakes. 1v1 duel me. You can send a duel request. Happens right then and there. You have some spectators and just duel it out. If anyone interrupts the fight, then it'll start over, or it'll be claimed as a draw. But it's just pretty much to the death. There's no real risk to it, as well, if you bet there is, but as far as actually like gear diminishing, dropping your gear or anything like that, there's no risk. But it is a fun way to kind of engage in other people and just test your skill in a more of a controlled environment. Another PvP aspect to have is 3v3, which I think is probably my favorite. It's smaller, more intimate. You get 3 people, you go against another 3 people. It's almost like a not battle royale, but they have the ring of fire that slowly close if the match starts beginning to go on too long. That forces the play space to get a little bit smaller. That's a very fun one, a little more predictable, very even as far as just the battlefield and how it sets you up. And then they go up again, and you have Outpost Rush. This is an in-game PvP area, or a PvP game mode, and I want to say it's 20v20. I actually never really played this one. I think I played it once or twice. That one's really fun. It has a PvE, it's PvE/VP mixed to it, but I think people love that one the most. For that one, they do need to add some more maps that I know of. I think they only have 1 or 2, but it's still, people love playing the game mode. It's a very fun one to kind of craft your build towards. And then the biggest one they have is the Wars, which I think are the highest stakes one, because it's where you will get to be able to claim territories and all that good stuff. So PvP options are there. As far as the PvE options, they have just world bosses, they have fun events, they have a bunch of dungeons. I want to say like 10 to 12 or something like that. They have mutators for those dungeons that give out better skills and rewards, as well as they have raids, which I think right now they have a 20-man worm raid, and then they're coming out with a 10-man when the game launches. And they have a solo dungeons. It's gonna be you and a boss, fight it out. That's for more of the solo player aspects. So then they have the MSQ, main quest line, a bunch of side quests, and then all the other stuff is just whatever you want to end up doing. So I think that's a great aspect as well. Another reason to play, they do have crossplay options. Sadly, there is no cross progression. Hopefully they add that later. I think that's a missed opportunity, but you know, maybe they couldn't implement it, or who knows what the reason is. But it is a fun thing you can have. So now you can have everyone together. There are and will be console only servers. I personally wouldn't recommend it. I honestly think just play, unless you're gonna be heavily PvP. But honestly, I'm gonna be playing with controller, and I've never had a problem going against PC people with a controller. It's just, end of the day, it's about, you know, getting good, cultivating your skill, know how to play, and play within your means. But that'll be able to get a fuller player base, because in this type of game, the more people you have running around the towns, the more people you can engage with. I think it becomes more fun. Another reason why I think you should play the game is the amount of hours you can play for the amount of money you're spending. So I'm a big advocate on, ultimately, why I'm playing a game is going to be for fun. I'm not really chasing any type of goals or trophies or anything like that. I want to say, if I'm going to enjoy the game, I'm going to have time. If I'm going to enjoy my time playing the game. So with that being said, you're going to see a lot of negative reviews on it, but most of those negative reviews, they have thousands of hours in it, which I don't know any game you're going to play for 1,000 hours. You're like, yeah, it's still just as fun. There is a lifetime to the game. Updates will come, and with those updates, there's going to be breathing room in between. For New World, most people get 100, 200, 300 hours plus, well over some of them. For the 40, if you're on PC, or the 60, depending on the version of the game you're getting, for the $40 or $60 version that you're getting, I think that's a great deal. I mean, I'm playing Wukong. That game's what, 35 hours? If you do everything, I think it's maybe 80 or something like that. Played Helldivers. Again, that was a $40 game. Got a couple hundred hours out of it. Played Elden Ring. You know, I played other single player games, which are great games, and they're $60, which I have no problem spending if I'm gonna have a good experience. But you're only playing them for a set amount of time because they're a capped game. New World, if your reason of playing it because people said, oh, the game sucks at end game, and they put 700 hours into it, I think even if you don't like the end game experience, 700 hours is 700 hours. Did you enjoy it? Even if you stop enjoying it at hour 100, what other games are you playing that really is going to give you that much time, other than, you know, strictly PvP games, which mostly are free to play nowadays, which, you know, that's also a plus. But just again, I think bang for your buck, I think the investment is definitely worth it. And some reasons you might not actually want to play the game. One could be it's action combat. Some people don't like that. It's gonna be more reflex based aiming and that kind of stuff. It's not tab targeting like other MMOs. So there is a little bit more of a different way of playing it. I think a little bit higher of a skill ceiling personally, which you might not enjoy. Another reason I think you should play the game, or another reason why I think, honestly, another reason I think you should play the game is how they deal with the leveling system. I think is very fun. Where if you're not someone who's good at combat, you don't really want to play combat, you can level up your body or your character all through the gathering and the trade skills, which I think are very fun. Those just consist of a bunch of, cooking, smelting, mining, logging, skinning, all these other things that farm resources that other players will need to craft bigger and better gear to help them in their combat. You can just find your role in the world, which I think is a very accessible way. Not everyone's taking the same path to in-game or to level up or to find their joy. I had a friend who loved fishing. He just fished. I had people who loved the cooking mechanic. I never really got into it, but they were going off finding all the good ingredients to cook and make great meals that buff your characters and then sell those meals for a pretty penny. So I think that's a very interesting way to play, and it's something that you can find what rhymes and you find what rhythms to you. I don't like how I said that. You can find what fits you as a player and how you enjoy playing the game. Now, some negativity you'll see about the game and could be a reason for not playing. It's up to you. Again, you're your own person. Make your choices based off of your own values and morals. Is Amazon's lack of communication recently. I personally, it's not a big deal to me. Why I kind of still support the game, even with all of its faults, is what they did from when the game launched to where it was about the end of 2023 I think was very commendable. The game launched, people loved it, but again, it had the big fall off because the game wasn't as polished and needed all the content it had or that it needed at launch. But they proved they kept caring and listening to feedback, changing and adding things for the first 2 years for completely free, which you don't see that all the time. So I was like, that earns my respect. Lately, people were mad about how some PC players feel slighted about how they promised them one thing and then was like, hey, the big reveal at Summer Game Fest maybe, and it was the release to console. I thought that was a good thing, just from the perspective of, yay, we get more players, and that probably means more money, so more resources, so more content will come in the future. Some people wanted their stuff right then and there, depending on how you look at it. I think both sides are right in their own way. Again, I don't really have much room in my heart for hate, so I'm not tripping about it that much. I'm a big believer in taking breaks in games anyway, so I'll come to a game, play it. When I'm not really enjoying it anymore, I'll take a step away. I also peep it. Oh, cool updates coming out. Cool, let me jump back in. I'll play another 10, 20 hours, hop off when I'm done with that content, and I like to rinse and repeat that cycle. Other people like to know life a game, which is totally fine. With that, there's a little more expectation to more content coming quickly and tailored for you because you have a deeper investment in the game. So to each their own, but some people feel slighted about that and the lack of new content. So if that is a value for you, make sure you look up, find what you need. I do say take everything with a grain of salt because some people are just more bitter than others. Some people come at it more from they want to see something fail versus getting better, which I think is a dangerous mindset, especially when looking, it just makes things a little bit more biased. Another thing is there's no pay to win as of now. And the game's been out technically for 3 years, so I don't believe there really will be. So I think that's a good one in MMOs. It's really easy for MMO to do pay to win, and then that makes it not as fun, especially with the PvP aspect of it. Another thing I would say, I don't think this is really a bad thing or reason not to play, but again, it's going to be tailored to who you are and the type of gamer you are. But this game is more of it is kind of a theme park, sand park type of game. So what that means, theme park is the activities are for you or laid out for you. So like the MSQ going through the main storyline, all that stuff. The sand park is kind of you make your own fun into it. It's kind of a mix between the two. So what that means, there will be times where you're like, okay, I'm done with these quests. What do I do now? And that means it's going to be up to you to find out your own fun, explore the world, figure out what you like to do, type of people you like to engage in, and create your own fun. If that's something you don't like to do, the game might feel like it gets cut a little bit short as far as playtime. But if that's something you do like to do, you're like, oh, okay, I can mix and match, upgrade trade skills, figure out new things to craft, figure out new builds, playing around with the best build is for X amount of enemies, for PvP, for gathering. Again, it's all up to you, but you can find that kind of fun depending on how you switch and alter your mindset. Lastly, for the last reason I would say that could be a red flag for you is the end game. Actually, I guess it's kind of two, but the end game for New World is a little bit lacking as far as what most people would like. The OPR again only has 1 or 2 maps, which people have wanted more. The apparently, again, I haven't played these, but this is what I've been hearing in the community. They want more like raids, harder dungeons to help scale up loot and to have good loot corresponding with the dungeon. Sometimes I'm hearing like in the mutator dungeon, the loot that you're getting isn't worth the difficulty of the dungeon. I haven't messed around with the mutators too much. They used to have 10 mutations, but I think they dialed it down to 3 and they just vary in different ways. So I'm not sure how that new system works, but that was another complaint, as well as the roadmap and communications from Amazon. They were really good in the beginning, and then somewhere around 2023 into 2023 kind of fell off, where they kind of went dark. Boom, they announced the console release. Cool, people hated that because they were dark for so long. And then now again, it's like kind of dripping off again as they're marketing for the console release. So we don't have any roadmaps or anything. Before they were giving us nice roadmaps, letting us know what to come. Some games do this, some games don't. If that's a big deal for you, it might not be your cup of tea. If you're going to be lying and waiting, and that's going to cause, kind of stress and gets you angry about the game. It is one of those things where it's like, not every game or developer does it. And I don't know. It's not a big deal to me personally. I think it's something that if they do it, that's awesome. But I don't feel like I'm owed anything per se. I feel like we have a mutual trade-off. I play your game, I give you money, you get my money, I play your game. Cool. It's very easy breezy for me. But that is one thing. So if you're expecting roadmaps, they could switch back. I hope they do. But they could not. And, I'm vibing either way. But those are some of the cons as well. I will say it's kind of another one that people, if you're looking for something super extensive as far as the RPG elements, it's weird. The skill trees and stuff for the weapons, there's 2 sides of the skill tree. They're not super extensive. I think they're decent, but there's definitely better out there in the video game world. I think it becomes more of a game of how you play that class versus the abilities and all the things you have, because you only get 3 abilities, and then it's kind of like your maneuverability and can you hit your shots, can you land your hits. All these things kind of accumulate into the whole skill ceiling. But as far as the in-depth RPG element, it's not crazy in-depth as some games. So if you want something that's super, like, you have tens and tens of skill points you can put in and you can allocate them here, you can get different skills. Nah, there's not that many. But that's just a short video I want to say about the game coming out. Remember, it's coming out tomorrow, September 13th. I recommend everyone playing it if you have a little bit of curiosity. And you're gonna get what you put in. Depends on your mindset. If you're coming in hoping this game will fail, you probably won't like it. If you're coming in expecting to like it, if you like action RPGs, MMOs, big communities, fun grinding and farming for loot, you'll probably enjoy the game. Again, just test it out. Test it out. I mean, it's 70 gigs, so if it's not worth the storage, skip this one. But look at the reviews. Keep everything with an open mind. With that being said, though, let me know, are you excited to play? If you're on console, are you going to be playing the game? And are you going to play on a console-only server? Or are you going to play with the crossplay servers? Let me know. I am curious on how that is all going to swing out. But with that being said, I hope everyone's having a good day. Stay easy and stay breezy. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.